Right, so you've got yourself a London Marathon place. Now what? It can be overwhelming when you get that notification that you've got a London Marathon place, or you didn't get a place but now you've gone and got a charity place. It can be very, very overwhelming. Well, in this video I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you from everything from where to get training plans and what to do next and when to start training, all that sort of stuff. So let's get stuck in. Right guys, so if you're new to the channel, I'm Chris Ford, aka Fordy, and I've run the London Marathon a couple of times. Here's some of the bling, just to give you an example. So I've been, there's some up there as well. I've been through the process of a London Marathon. I've trained for London Marathons, and I've been through it. I know exactly what you're going through, especially from the first time that I found out that I was going to be doing it. And like I said at the start in this video, I'm going to hopefully help you with a few little tips and hints. So especially over the next few weeks as you sort of settle with the feeling of I'm going to be running the London Marathon. Okay, so the first thing is don't panic. It's so easy. You get the email through, or like, you know, you get the brochure through the post and, oh no, I've got a London Marathon place. Or you sign up to a charity and they ring you and go, oh yeah, we've given you a place. And you're like, oops, what have I done? That is the first thing you think of, is what have I done? How am I going to do it? How am I going to run for 5 hours? How am I going to run for 6 hours? How am I going to run for 3 hours? How am I going to... Just don't panic. That is the number one thing, right? Is don't panic. Just chill out. It's all going to be okay. You are going to cross that finishing line. No doubt about that. You will finish the race. So don't panic. Don't worry about it. Focus on the present. Focus on right now and get yourself an action plan. Okay, so the first thing on your action plan should be work out your dates. Right now, it's interesting in terms of time because we've got a London Marathon in October and then in April again. So I don't know when you're doing a London Marathon, but right now is a funny one. So what you've got is actually a period of time before you actually really need to start doing your, let's say, your 16-week marathon training plan. So what I would say to you is look at your dates and work out. I think as this video drops, just for the October event, I think there's like 35, 36 weeks, to give you an example. So there's plenty of time, and use that time to sort of plan out your strategy on how it's going to look, your training, and that sort of stuff. So yeah, so just sit down, take a 5 minute, even if you're on the train or whatever, just maybe get your notes on your iPhone and just plan out your dates and think about that and get yourself a strategy in terms of timing. The one thing I can recommend once you've worked out your timing is to get yourself running and training now. Build your base, build that base level of fitness, that base level of stamina. I mean, for example, and this is, I'm not doing this video to promote our own training plans, okay? So just straight away, you can get loads of free training plans online. But there is a training plan that I use called my Ticking Over Plan, and that's a 6-week plan that I use to get myself ready for marathon training. I always do it before I start my marathon training plan. So again, think about maybe the next 6 to 8 weeks or whatever your dates that you've worked out as, but get yourself into like a mini plan to work out that sort of base level of fitness, to get that sort of frequency, the feeling of running more than probably you may have done before, and you know, introducing maybe a long run and all that sort of stuff. Just start now, because the more work you do now, the sort of foundation that you build now will really, really help you when you do enter that marathon training plan. Okay, so next up on your action list should be getting yourself a marathon training plan. There's loads of free ones out there. There's great ones on the Virgin Money London Marathon website, and I would recommend them. As I say, you don't necessarily need to pay for one. We have them on the FORDY RUNS website. It's up to you whether you get them. We've got improver ones, we've got sub-4 ones and all that sort of stuff, but it's entirely up to you. There are very good free ones out there. If you want something bespoke, because maybe you're looking for a certain time, or you want something more individual, then that's where you need to speak to a qualified running coach, which I am. So for example, I will do bespoke training plans. I will speak to my runners, find out about them, get more detail on their history, and work with them in more detail and come up with something individual for them. There's plenty of decent online running coaches out there, people. You don't have to come to me. Again, objectively talking in this video, there's loads of good people out there. So if you are looking for something more bespoke, search around, get recommendations and all that sort of stuff. Yes, we can help you out. But in terms of fairness, just, you know, speak to your friends who maybe use other running coaches and that sort of stuff. But yeah, there's sort of two ways to go. Either go down the free route, which are awesome, and I would really recommend you go to the London Marathon website, or maybe get yourself some bespoke but get it from a running coach who can then work with you and work on, on an individual basis, because that's really, really important. Okay, the things I think that in terms of training are really important, we've mentioned it slightly before, is to build that base, to understand your training, to understand the different runs, to understand the frequency in terms of your running. It's really critical that I have found when I've trained for the London Marathon to build that sort of efficiency in my training, to understand where I'm best running in the day, because we've all got our own lives, and marathon training is all consuming. And that's probably one of the biggest things I would say. It does seem to take over your life. But it is really important that you can try and work out where best it is for you to fit those runs in, the different runs that you're going to be doing. Your long run is such a key part of marathon training. When can you set that time aside? That long run may go out where you're out for like 3.5 hours on a long run. Maybe you're going to be doing a 20 miler at some point during your marathon training plan. So you've got to think about it. And you've got to build that base, and you've got to build that efficiency. But yeah, you just got to try and work out efficiently where you can fit all these runs in. As always with marathon training, you need to build your mileage slowly. Don't go out tomorrow, now you've got the London Marathon, and go and run 18 miles. That's the worst thing you could do. You need to build your mileage slowly. You'll hear a lot of people talking about the 10% rule, increasing your mileage slowly 10% every week. It's a good rule even to go by. There's nothing wrong with that. I think if you're in that sort of base building part, where I spoke about earlier about the 6 or 7 weeks beforehand where you're building a fitness, again, you just need to be careful there where you're just building miles slowly in terms of total volume. Just increase that mileage slowly, because we really don't want you getting injured before we start. Actually, that's a good thing to put on your ticking list or your strategy, is injury prevention. It is really important not to build mileage too quickly, not to run too fast, to make sure that you are doing your stretching, not static stretching at the start, but like dynamic stretches and all that sort of stuff. Make sure, if you can afford it, get yourself some massages. That's going to help you. Get in those Epsom salt baths. Maybe invest in a foam roller or a massage gun, those sort of things, but use them properly, people. And really work on that sort of injury prevention. It really helps. Get yourself plenty of rest. Make sure you get loads of sleep. All that sort of stuff is really, really important, because as you get training, as you build up, your muscle, your strength, you are going to get aches and pains and all that sort of stuff. So just really work on that injury prevention. Another thing to stick on your list is cross training. I know it's difficult at the moment, and currently we've got the pandemic, so we're restricted on stuff we can do. But in the past, I have used swimming, I've used cycling, but swimming for me is awesome. I would really recommend yoga. And if you check out, we've done a video, a 30-minute runners yoga session. Check that out, it's totally free. You can check that out on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, by the way. There's also a runners HIIT session, a strength training session with a PT. Again, totally free video, you can do that. They're the sort of things that you want to be doing as well as you're running. You really want to work on your core. You want to, strengthen up your glutes. I remember when I started training for London Marathon, my glutes were so weak. I'd never worked on my glutes before, so I got in the pool. I don't know if it was a good thing, but it was just something I could do. I could swim. So I went in there and I built up the strength in my glutes through swimming. I did hit the gym. I used to do 45 minutes in the gym over lunchtime, all that sort of stuff. I know it's impractical at the moment, but that's why, as I said, the Zoom stuff you can do online, or like our videos that are free for like yoga and HIIT sessions. But really try and get some cross training into your training. I mentioned it before, people, but don't run too fast in your training. Again, it leads back to injury prevention. It leads back to building up slowly, all that sort of stuff. Every runner, when they start off training for a London Marathon, they go out and they do their runs 3 times a week, whatever you're doing, but they're running them all too fast. If you're inexperienced, which I totally get, I was there, I was a beginner, I was running too fast when I look back. So just make sure that you aren't running too fast. Okay, running shoes, treat yourself. You're going to be training for a long time. You're going to be running for a long time. Invest in a decent pair of running shoes. I know it's tricky at the moment right now in 2021 in terms of going to a running store, getting your gait analysed. But if you can get your gait analysed, I would really recommend it. Find out if you're a pronator, neutral runner, what shoes suit you. Try not to go to somewhere where they are actively selling running shoes. You want to go somewhere where they are kind of independent, or they do it on an independent basis to get your gait properly analysed, because you really need a decent pair of running shoes. Now I've done a video on, you know, types of shoes and all that sort of stuff, and we will do more. But you know, you've got like daily trainers, you've got shoes that are more suited to long runs, you've got fast shoes, you've got, you know, shoes for race day. I'm not saying you need to go out and buy something like this. I would really recommend that you don't go and buy something like this if it's your first marathon, unless you're gunning for a time. You know, buy something that can do everything. You know, I'll give you an example. You know, something like the New Balance 1080 version 11. I mean, this is promoted by London Marathon themselves because they've got to deal with New Balance, but this is a great shoe. We'll do everything. You run the marathon in this shoe if you so wish. So just my point is, just get yourself properly fit, spend the money wisely, but get yourself a decent pair of running shoes. Talking of kit, I would really recommend that you try everything in your training. Start thinking about all the stuff that you're going to implement, how you're going to hydrate while you're out there, how you're going to carry your gels, don't even get me started on fueling, how you're going to carry your phone because you're going to be out there for 3 or 4 hours, whatever, when you're doing your long runs. All those sort of things. I've done loads of reviews on running vests, hydration vests and all that sort of stuff. Check the reviews out. It's all on the channel. You can check it out. We've done loads of stuff on marathon training. But you need to think about that, and you need to practice wearing the kit. That is my point, is practice wearing the kit. And why don't you actually, cheeky little plug, get yourself one of our I Am Marathon training tops as well, because they look awesome. And the last thing I want to leave you with, and this is probably one of the most important tips, hints, things, experiences that I had, is to not listen to others, focus on the present, and focus on what you can control. I even find myself now, especially about week 4, thinking to myself, how the hell am I going to run 26.2 miles? Even I feel that now. And you will get those thoughts, but don't worry about it. Don't look on Facebook groups at people who are out there running 20 miles in their 3rd week. 1, they're either stupid, or 2, they might be super experienced and have their own training plan that's designed by, you know, a coach who said that, you know, this is what they need to do. So forget about what everybody else is doing. Don't worry about the fact that what people are running and what people are doing. Focus on what you're doing, what you can control. Focus on the next run that you're doing and make sure that is really high quality, and just get the best out of your training. Just get rid of all that noise around you. I think that's the biggest sort of tip that I can give you from the training that I've done and from when I've, you know, run the London Marathon previously. They're the sort of things that you need to think about. Just sort of switch off from what everyone else is doing in the training. Enjoy the experience, yeah. You know, get on those Facebook groups and share your experiences, but at the same time, don't get hat up what everybody else is doing, and don't worry about, you know, the fact of, oh, how the hell am I going to run 26.2 miles? Don't worry about it. Just focus on the run that you're doing next. And that's probably one of the big takeaways from this video. So there you go, guys. I hope that helps. I really do. If you didn't get into the ballot, but you're still watching this video, and you haven't got a charity place, but you're thinking about it, definitely do it. The London Marathon, without doubt, is one of the best, if not the best, races in the world. It is incredible. The amount of money they raise for charities is unbelievable. It's totally awesome, and the charities really need the money. So if you can run for a charity, then do it. I know it's tough to raise that sort of money, but please, if you can, I know the charities will be forever grateful. But it's the ultimate experience, and when you cross that line, I said at the start, you will cry. It is an unbelievable thing that you'll never forget that you ran the London Marathon. So yeah, enjoy it. Watch the videos we've done on the channel before, you know, the old London Marathon vlogs that I've done where I've carried a camera around where I've run the London Marathon. I've done training series where I've trained for the London Marathon, and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully, you know, there's some tips and hints on the channel that will help you as well. But good luck. Let me know in the comments what you're aiming for, what charities you're running for, all that sort of stuff. And I'll catch you down there in the comments when this video drops. But good luck, guys. I'll catch you later.